Okay, I'm looking at an article and I'm looking up more on the translation of Enoch, and I found an article that has a couple more good points. And so actually I want to go back to Hebrews 11. Hebrews 11:5 is where we read about Enoch. And let me see here. We go on to verse 13. He's talking about all these people in Hebrews 11 who, did things by faith. They lived by faith in God. Abel, Enoch, Sarah, Abraham. When we get to verse 13, it says, "These all died in faith, not having received the promises." Okay. And when I was thinking about having received the promises, I've looked up that too, and that could be another video. But the receive the promises thing, it doesn't mean that they didn't receive eternal life. They didn't go to heaven to be with God. It means that the promise of the coming Messiah and this future age, which the New Testament apostles lived in and stuff. They all died before that. Okay, they had all the prophecies of the new covenant and everything, and so they didn't make it to that. But it doesn't mean that they didn't receive, the promises for all believers, eternal life, etc. But it says these all died, and who are these all? These all are Sarah, Abraham, Noah, Enoch. These all died in faith. So that's one proof that Enoch died. That's also. And then so also we have it talked about in Genesis that he was not. Okay, it says he was not. And so in Jeremiah 31:15, let's see, where is that? It's been a while since I went to Jeremiah. I've been gotta remember Isaiah. Jeremiah before that. Jeremiah 31:15. Almost there. Jeremiah 31:15 says, "Thus saith the Lord, a voice was heard in Ramah, lamentation and bitter weeping. Rael weeping for her children, refused to be comforted for her children because they were not," meaning they died. And so when we go back to Genesis, was it Genesis 5? Yeah, Genesis 5:24. Enoch walked with God, and he was not, meaning he died. But where was he? He was with God, and that's the point. So he was still living, okay, in the spiritual sense, in the eternal sense, in the true sense. And we've also got Job 7:21. Where's Job? I remember. Job 4 right there. Job 7:21. Sorry, I'm making this really quick. It's also just kind of reference for myself for in the future if I want to put this together more as more of a study. But Job 7:21 is, "And why dost thou not pardon my transgressions, and take away mine iniquity? For now shall I sleep in the dust, and thou shalt seek me in the morning, but I shall not be." Shall not be. So this is language of saying of somebody who is dead. And so Enoch was not, meaning that he was dead. But in Hebrews it said all these died. And so also, it also kind of debunks the whole paradise thing, which I talk about all the time, where people believe that the Old Testament saints didn't go to heaven. They went to the special place called paradise that was right next to hell. But it says that Enoch, that God took him. That means that Enoch was with God. God's in heaven. That's where Enoch was. That's where all the other saints were. That's where all believers go. And so, that's that. Thanks. God bless.